PodAskew podcast is a founding member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Two things I know in this world: black and white convenience store movies and podcasting, man. So when I give you a podcast suggestion, people tend to listen. I'm about to drop some on you right now. Check out a great variety of podcasts on the Odd Pods Media Network, man. I'm talking shows Super Media Brothers, Married with Television, The 500 Section Lounge, From the Middle Podcast, PodAskew, BFYTW, and Infectious Group, all proud members of the Odd Pods Media Network. They make me so happy, spittle flies out of my mouth when I talk about them, man. I love anybody that creates a podcast network, and the good folks at Odd Pods have done exactly that. Go listen to all the podcasts on Odd Pods Media Network right now and tell them Silent Bob sent you. And when they say, wait, I thought he doesn't talk. And you're like, yeah, well, he talks one line per movie. And then go like, what? And the one line in a movie told you to go listen to Odd Pods Media Network. And then be like, look, it was just a fucking sign-off catchphrase. Get off my dick. And then you'll have made a new friend.
It's Fandom Friday.
And we're getting Vokl with PodAskew. I am CJ. Hello again, but I got some help, it looks like, from my boy Richie, AJ Midnight Raw from Super Media Brothers, and I do see logo Mike, Mark, DJ Celesta from the radio airwaves, and Todd, of course. So I appreciate you guys all coming out and giving me a hand tonight. It is the first Get Vokl of 2021, and we're off to a wonderful start to this year as well, aren't we, gentlemen? Jesus Christ. We're not going to get into any of that stuff because there's just no point. But for fuck's sake, is really all I can say. You know, hey Todd, like in the background there, the green screen's working well for you. Looks good. Yeah. So, I got my own new little background, not nearly as fancy, but I did grab that up, so that's hanging on the wall now. You know,
you're working on it, but that's the point.
Yeah, little branding, you know. So we're good to go. How's everyone doing this week?
I'm pretty good.
Doing good. Logo Mike?
Yeah, doing good, man. Still breathing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all we can kind of hope for, right? Right about now.
That's a nice shirt you got there, CJ.
Good in your background, CJ.
What's that?
The poster looks good in the background.
Yeah, I was just talking about that. I think you missed.
Yeah, I was probably, I don't know, daydreaming about something.
No worries. And then I got this T-shirt in the mail. I don't know what this show is, but I got this thing, and I thought I'd put it on, wear it, you know.
Very nice.
Sweet. Glad to see it came out all right.
Dude, it came out great. And the only thing that's really and it's not even a complaint because it fits fine. I ordered a medium, which I'm glad I did because when I order my PodAskew stuff from TeePublic, I get smalls. But then the place that you could do your shirts from said that they run small, like the sizes run small.
Yeah, because they try to pre-shrink them and everything. Because I know the particular T-shirts we went with this time, I wanted to get like a little higher quality of, shirt. And typically when you do that, they'll run a little small for some reason or whatever. Yeah. But hey, shit, I'm glad it fits.
I ordered the medium, and that's fine. But when I pulled it out of the packaging before I unfolded it and actually put it on, your logo on this thing is fucking huge.
I made sure it's fucking loud.
Dude, it's loud, and it takes up I'd say 90% of the space available on the t-shirt. Like, it's massive.
Eat
So
your
when
heart
I'm
out, Superman.
the thing with it, though, it's like when I'm holding it, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like when I was holding it and looking at it, I'm like, I think I got the wrong size, you know?
Oh, no.
And then
Oh,
I
no.
put it on and it fit better. So no, but no, I'm loving this shirt, and you know I'm a huge fan of your show and your logo.
hell yeah.
So I'm all about spreading some love there.
Hell yeah.
And if you flip it over to T Public, you could actually put the Odd Pods logo on the back. I'm just saying.
I'm in the process of doing that. I was trying to work on it earlier today, and for
Did
some
you set
reason
it
the
up
website
yet?
wasn't. No, the website wasn't wanting to work with me, so
Okay,
I was like, "Screw it,
don't-
I'll work on it later."
Well,
So-
no, well, let's us.
Yeah, I got you.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
had an
got you.
idea for you, so
Yeah.
don't do it yet.
Yeah, I got you.
Anyway, that's business. We'll leave the business off
Right.
the table. Logo Mike, how you doing, homie? What's going on?
Doing good, man. Just hanging in there.
Yeah. How was your new? Well, I know you were with us for part of the night. We again appreciate you and Allie coming out. But anything else going on, or?
Nah, man, it was just another regular day in the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah, man.
Another day of quarantining, you know.
Right. Well, are you guys under quarantine now? You too?
Well, you know what I mean.
Oh no! Because there's what we're dealing with, and then actually being quarantined. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah,
I go
right.
Here, I'm at home, and then I go to work sometimes, and
That's about it.
that's about all I can go to. And then,
Sure.
you know, shopping or whatever.
I'm not going to say where I work. I don't like to put that kind of stuff out there, but they're actually talking about making my job permanent, work from home. So that could be a thing. So
That's crazy.
yeah, and I mean that's even after COVID. Like even if they wiped it off the planet, it could still be just permanent work from home. So okay,
Yeah, my job's even talking about. Well, they're going to be finding a new corporate headquarters in the future. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next, but it's definitely going to be happening. I'm just hoping it's not farther away, but I guess it won't really matter because now that people can work from home,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like I'm set up here to work from home, so
yeah.
whatever happens, you know. Just got to go with the flow. I mean, what can you do? Man?
Todd, how you hold on, man? I know you jumped off New Year's a little early to go to do Star Wars. Did the Rebels still blow up the Death Star at midnight, or?
Yeah, it was us actually the website that I linked to gives you the exact time to start watching the movie, depending on which version of the movie you have. And I just watched it off of Disney Plus.
Okay,
so it lined up perfectly. It was if you started, I think it was at 10:02 and 42 seconds. At the stroke of midnight, the Death Star blows up. It was awesome.
that's
Beautiful.
badass. I don't know if I told this story on air or not. I think I've told a couple people privately, but it's not like something I'm not willing to share. There's this game called Lemmings that was huge back in the like 90s, and I think it started as a PC game, but eventually moved its way over to like the Super Nintendo and a couple of the consoles at the time. And if you got stuck, there was a nuclear option where you could just blow all the lemmings up, right?
I remember that.
But they had countdown timers. It wasn't like instant explosion. You would set it up and then it would count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then kaboom. And I, one year for New Year's Eve, had lemmings up on my screen, pumped through my stereo at full volume, and timed it, and all my lemmings exploded at midnight. It was perfect. It was just a great way to do New Year's Eve that year. I blew up lemmings.
All my lemmings exploded at midnight. That's a quote. 2021.
By the way, I like how you have your headphones wires in your beard, so your mic is right there.
Yeah, dude, I do that because if I just let it like dangle down, you really can't hear too well. So
no,
it's hiding behind the beard.
hey, it's my beard doubles as like all kinds of shit. Now it's a shelf and it's fucking broke. So
we got the football
Have you
gurus in the house, and Kateri's back. Hopefully her. I'm guessing she's having the same tech issue she's had previously, and that's why she keeps jumping in and out. But hopefully she'll hang around. We got
to get back to the Star Wars Death Star blowing up at midnight. I saw a similar video online that somebody was watching Endgame.
Okay.
And at the stroke of midnight, they saw Tony Stark.
a snap.
Yeah. So I thought that was
Yeah, I think there's that one, and I think there's actually one for Infinity War if you want the flip side, and you get Thanos' snap as well. So depending on which way which way you want to go, if you want to end on a sad note, well, they're both sad notes technically, I guess, but Thanos is defeated, so it's kind of a mixed bag on that one. So
Right.
The other thing that I saw was the other one I saw was for those who like the prequels. You can have, I think it's the Phantom Menace, where at one point Obi-Wan Kenobi jumps down and says, "Well, hello there." That's kind of where that.
Okay. Now, that's not as good as the Death Star, but I hear you. That's a thing.
I agree.
I can't think of any other cinematic moments that I would really want. I mean, if you want to get morbid about it, the only one that immediately comes to mind is when Travolta's character accidentally shoots the dude in the face in the back of the car on Pulp Fiction.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
If you want to go morbid about it.
the John Travolta. Oh my god! Like when he shoots, that'd be fucking great.
That would be kind of funny. But that's a little morbid too. Anyway,
it's funny.
It is funny. But that's not what we're here. Oh, and I also want to announce that. I mean, I've kind of talked about it already, but I want to I'd like to stress that I'm on the radio now. I'm on internet radio. I've got 2 shows under my belt. I got one of my colleagues here, DJ Celeste, as I mentioned. Thank you, dear, for coming on. By the way, she's actually newer than I am. I'm fresh meat. I'm 3 shows in. She's even newer than I am, and her show's kicking ass. We're playing very different styles of music, which is really cool too. That's what I love about the station. And Todd, you've known about the station a lot longer than even I have, so you're pretty familiar with how they run. And they have. I thought you were new. Are you not new? I thought you were new. My bad. I thought that's what the boss said. I thought the boss said you were new. So that's what I meant. New to the station. That's what I meant. Not new to DJing. I know you've been doing it for a minute. We talked about that, but I'm saying new to radio airwaves. But yeah, so I'm doing a show, and I've had 2 shows so far. I got my 3rd one coming up tomorrow night. Super excited about that. I'll give you guys a little tease. We're doing Headbangers Ball, the 90s edition, so it's all heavy metal from the 90s. Very excited to drop that episode. Should be a lot of fun. Super excited to do that. But yeah, and I've got a lot of cool shows coming up on that. So I will plug all that towards the end. But let's get into tonight. So tonight, originally, if you've been following the show and Get Vokl, was supposed to be Mandalorian. Obviously, Rico's still not here for the reasons that he needs to deal with. And they're all, it's obviously a very reasonable or understandable reason. He's got to deal with what he's got to deal with. Our thoughts are with him, of course. I would say thoughts and prayers, but he doesn't give a fuck about the prayers, so we're gonna skip that part. But our thoughts are certainly with him. We hope he's feeling better. And if I saw correctly, he said something about he'll be back next week on Get Vokl. So we'll see. I hope. I haven't spoken to him, unfortunately, so I can't validate that. But if he says it there, I guess it's true. So the plan was to talk about Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, and that was the plan. For the record, that was the plan before the shit hit the fan for Rico. Anyway, we had that in the books that this would be the first episode of 2021, and then the shit hit the fan. And at first, it was like, well, I'll still do it. And the more I thought about it, and all credit to Logo Mike, I had hit him up and was like, "Can you come help?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got you, of course," because he's good like that. But he also recommended that we maybe hold off on Mandalorian until Rico can be here, and he's right. So we decided let's double back, reboot, and we'll do Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, because I know, with all respect to Rico, like, he wants to watch Cobra Kai, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't gotten to any of them yet. And I don't know how familiar with the Karate Kid films he is, to be honest with you. As good as he is with movies, I don't know how familiar he is with those particular films. I'm sure he's seen them at least once. I think if you have a pulse, you've seen the Karate Kid at least once,
Right.
Table all the time.
Yeah. But it as a whole, I think so. That's where we're going to go. So, do we want to start with the films, or do we want to start with the show, gentlemen? What are we thinking? I would like some feedback.
I'd say
start with the show.
Yeah. I'll say show, and then we can always just bounce back to the movies when they reference
because the show actually crosses over to the movies anyways.
Right? No, for sure, Todd. And that's a great starting point on this conversation, because what I think one of the things that Cobra Kai does really, really well for being a show spawned off a movie is it, like with say the Lethal Weapon show that was around briefly, it just tried to be its own thing that was like almost like a reboot. Do you know what I mean? And it was another movie like that I'm blanking on, that they right around the same time they did the Lethal Weapon show, they did another one like that. I forget what it was called, but
yeah, it was the Jackie Chan Chris Tucker
Rush
movie.
Hour. That's right.
They tried to do Rush Hour.
Yeah, and what they tried to do was they tried to just make them their own like reboots of the movies, and that didn't work. What Cobra Kai is doing successfully, in my eyes, is continuing the story, and it's not. I wouldn't even call it a spin-off. I'd call it almost a direct sequel. It's just 30 years later or whatever it is.
What that is kind of doing what Ash versus Evil Dead did, honestly.
Okay, see, I didn't watch that, so I can't speak to that. But yeah, if
you should, it's good.
Yeah, no, I you know what though? Like the only one of those movies that I've seen that I've enjoyed was Army of Darkness, and it's not that I hated the other two; it just wasn't on my alley. You know,
no, it's more accessible. It was a more accessible film in the trilogy,
right?
But yeah.
But I mean, I want to make clear, I'm not sitting here shitting on Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. It just wasn't my no. There are movies I'll shit on. That's just not.
Oh no.
No. Halloween as an example. But that's
not go there.
Yeah, it's a long. Okay,
we're not going there.
I don't have him here to yell at me about this time. So. But yeah, so the continuation of the story, and the other thing they did, is anyone here, chat room or on the screen, fans of How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm an uber fan. I fucking love that show, and Barney from that show has argued that the real Karate Kid was Johnny and not Daniel LaRusso. That Daniel LaRusso was actually the antagonist, and that the actual Karate Kid was Johnny Lawrence.
Yes,
and
there's definitely theories out there.
The show kind of the Cobra Kai shows kind of validated that theory a little bit, to be honest with you. Gio,
I can see Johnny going on Reddit doing an "Am I the asshole?" post.
Yeah. But the continuation of the story is really good. I liked seeing it start with Johnny. And kind of seeing him just like struggling, you know, and
right, because he's just a handyman at this point.
Yeah,
right.
He's almost,
it's so weird.
He's almost Miyagi in a way, you know, like it's very. I thought that was really kind of interesting that they spun it that way. Like I wasn't sure where they were going with it, but
more Miyagi than Kreese for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and we'll get to it, but I mean his growth through the series so far has been really intriguing. Like it's really been captivating to watch.
He makes the show. He is
him not being a douche.
Yeah, well, and Mike, say that point again, because I don't think
I said he is the show. He makes the show. Like, he's the only reason I'm watching the show is because Johnny and his character. Like, every time like he's on screen, like I'm paying attention. Anything else, like Daniel Russo's all right, but Johnny's just the more intriguing character.
Yeah, Daniel is the Karate Kid.
Oh,
good
night, everybody.
You're welcome.
I'll
be here all
night.
Yeah,
right. But yeah, I think it plays well. I think watching him, but I also think that they treated the character right. They're not just suddenly making him the hero, right? Like he came out of it like it. How do I put this? He very much struck me as a character, even coming off the movies, as someone who would have been stuck in 1984. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's now in his 40s, early 50s, somewhere in there, if you're doing the math.
Early 50s, yeah.
he's still stuck in 1984. Now he's as the show has progressed, he's kind of advanced a bit. But like at the beginning, if I'm remembering, because it's been a while since I've seen season 1, and since we did the pivot, I didn't have time to go back and catch up like I would have normally for this. But if I recall, like he was still driving an IROC at the beginning of the episode. Like he still had like an 84 IROC with like a tape deck that was playing Motley Crue. I mean, like, or something like that. I mean, it wasn't, or Twisted Sister, right, Todd?
Twisted Sister,
yeah. No, that was just a joke on your request the other night.
Oh, yeah. It was in that video.
Yeah. No, well, they do go see. I mean, to that point, he does go see Dee Snider during this last season. So, I mean, it does kind of come around.
That was a great cameo, by the way. I was surprised to see that.
Well, I think the show as a whole has some real credibility. There's a lot of people that don't, and let's give some other history real quick. I think there's some people who don't know that it actually started on YouTube Premium. Like a lot of people think it just started on Netflix, and it didn't. It actually started on YouTube Premium, and I actually saw seasons 1 and 2 on YouTube Premium before it ever came to Netflix.
Right.
And I had been waiting for season 3, and actually had not heard that there was a problem and that they were leaving YouTube. That went over my head somehow. And so suddenly I see that Cobra Kai is now on Netflix, and I'm like, oh. So I jump on it, and it immediately started to I immediately jumped in and wanted to read why it moved over, and I never found out the why. And I don't really, I mean, if we want to talk about it, we can, but I'm not really that concerned about it. But what I did find out was that they were definitely doing season 3. And Todd, to your point in the chat during the pre-show, because I did see it, they are, as far as I know, season 4 has been announced. They are doing season 4. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's already been announced.
Okay.
I don't know when they're going to start production or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it's starting.
Were they shooting season 3 during COVID?
No.
No, I believe season 3 got shot long ago, and then there was problems with YouTube, and it just got delayed being brought out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Netflix, or at least they had started it, and maybe that's when shit fell apart, and Netflix finished paying for the bill or whatever. I don't.
Well, they left YouTube because YouTube as a platform is trying to focus on its creators more, and they're trying to shift away from all the original scripting programs and stuff. Because whenever they launched YouTube Red, they had a ton of original programming, and it kind of didn't work out for a lot of those shows. So they're just kind of revamping. Which, I mean, good for the show that it found a home. At the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
Does YouTube still?
Listen, I think Netflix is a better fit for this show anyway, to be honest with you. Like, it's a better platform. The only other place it would have done, I think, equally as well is maybe something like Amazon Prime or Hulu. Yeah. But that's, I don't know that it would have fit well on Disney or HBO Max, but that's just me. Who knows?
There's probably more subscribers to Netflix, so that's probably why.
I would think so.
Absolutely.
Listen, Cobra Kai, for having, to Gio's point, being behind a paywall on YouTube, did very well. It had a lot of success, and before they did pull it down, I think they eventually made it free with commercials. So, like, you could watch it, but then you had to see, like, YouTube ad every, 10, 15 minutes or something like that. I forget what it was, but there was, so you eventually could have seen it free on YouTube anyway, but it did very well over there. And to Richie's information that I wasn't aware of, they were trying to pull away. So then they moved over to another platform. And so when they went to Netflix, there was a ton of hype for it already. People wanted season 3. And I think I'm going to guess. Listen, I'm going to make a bold statement. Depending on what they're doing with the story, it's going to be the next Stranger Things for Netflix. I think it's going to draw that kind of numbers for this season and for the next one. So.
Oh, absolutely.
When it first came out, I definitely wanted to check it out on YouTube Red, but I was just like, I'm not paying for it. Like,
same.
I'm not going to do that. And then, like, after like a year and a half, I just kind of forgot about it. Like, it was kind of in the back of my mind, like, oh, I'll get to it, like, when I get to it. And then I just, totally forgot about the show. And then all of a sudden I'm on Netflix and I see Cobra Kai's on there. I'm like, oh, shit. Cobra Kai's on Netflix.
Right.
We watched it, like, within that week. And, burned right through season 1 and 2, like no sweat.
And that's kind of how I came to it, Mike. So if I'll jump back a bit. My last job in my office, you couldn't, when I first started, you could access YouTube on like your phone. You couldn't do it on a company computer, but you could get to it on your phone or whatever. And Kevin Smith does a couple YouTube shows as opposed to podcasts, like for example, Fat Man Beyond. And I used to like put it on my desk and watch. Well, and you don't have to watch that because it is still a podcast, even though it's taped or it's on camera. So I would put it on my desk while I was working and kind of listen to it. And every once in a while, I'll glance down if they were showing something and whatever. And then some idiot ruined it by illegally downloading movies through the company system. And they locked it down tighter than Fort Knox. And so the only way I could continue to watch it at work is to pay for the premium and download it onto my phone and watch it offline. So
you ruined it for everybody, dude.
Right. So I did that, and so I had to pay for YouTube to be able to download it because you can't download YouTube unless you're paying for the premium, and that's how I got access to Cobra Kai and just started. And so I found season 1 and I found it right. I think I found it like right before season 2 came out, like literally the week before. So I binged season 1, and by the time I got through season 1, season 2 was coming out. So I went right into season 2 and just got my two seasons of Cobra Kai and jumped all over it. It was so well done. But getting back into the meat and potatoes of it, like it made sense for John to be that angry. Like he was angry at the beginning of that series, and like I can imagine. I mean, there's arguments, and listen, I love the movies. I'm actually a fan of Daniels. I like Johnny too. I'm especially now, but I'm pretty certain that crane kick is an illegal move. I'm just saying. I think he's right. I think it was an illegal kick based on the rules that you actually hear them say in the movie. Like I'm not even making shit up or going off other people's arguments. If you listen to the rules that they talk about,
what are the rules? You can't kick him in the face. Is that
no
the
head
rule?
contact?
You can't kick in the face. No head
That's
contact.
That's what I thought I heard him say.
So I'm trying to think if anybody got punched in the face. Or
I am too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They said that, and then someone does get punched in the face. There's a move. There's one where Johnny like does like a leg sweep, and it's not the leg thing on Daniel. It's a different one, and he does like a back fist. Like when he lands on the guy, he does like a back fist on the back of his head or something. I don't know if it's in his face, but it was in the back of his head. Because
in season 3, Daniel even says like Miguel brings it up. He's like, yeah, my sensei was saying that it was an illegal kick, and Daniel sounds like, hey man, they said from the waist up.
Wait, he said that,
you can do
right? And then Celeste is saying it was the back of the neck on the punch I'm talking about. So thank you for the detail. I appreciate that. But it's there was another. I'm trying to. In the third one, when he's fighting that the champion who's already been a champion, I can't remember his name, but like the Mr. Silver hires him to come in just to kick Danny's. Like he's there specifically just to kick Daniel's ass. And Mike Barnes, I think is his name. And there was one like. Because he says to him, win a point, lose a point, win a point, lose a point, if you remember the fight. And one of the ways he lost a point was by like punching Daniel in the eye. Like he did like a jab into his face and he lost the point that way. So how's that a loss of a point? But the kick to the nose, it basically could. I mean, look, if you really want to get technical, and why not? Because what the fuck? We've got like an hour and 45 minutes to kill. Like, if you really want to get technical, you hit that crane kick the wrong way, you kill a motherfucker because you hit that nose the wrong way with the crane kick, and that's it. Dude's dead.
It's the brain kick at that point.
Well, that's anything. That's anything.
Well, yeah,
I would assume. Any
having a little bit of fun with it, Mike. You know what I mean? But like, so there might have been some truth to that kick being illegal, and even if it's not, right? Okay, so forget the whether it really is. If you genuinely in your mind as a competitor, and I don't know who here's played competitive sports, or even whether it's on in a professional, I don't want to say professional team, but like a high school team or whatever, or even just pick up with your friends on a regular basis. If you think someone broke the rules, that shit sits with you for a while, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So
I do want to say,
Yeah.
I just looked it up. The first 3 movies are available on IMDb television.
yeah, I saw
You
that.
go to imdb.com and click on the button there. And the next Karate Kid is on Netflix. The one with Hilary Swank.
Yes, that I saw.
Yes.
That one,
I'll
it's
pass
not
on that.
terrible. It's not great. You know what?
I never saw it.
Did
You
anybody
know-
see the one with Jackie Chan?
I was just gonna say that was
I did.
surprisingly done well.
I was gonna say, I'm not even gonna lie. I caught it on, I think it was TNT a few months ago, and it was one of those movies where I was like, do I really want to watch this? And it just happened to be on. And I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. And
It was good.
dude, yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I was very surprised, honestly, because I didn't think I was gonna really like it as much as I did.
I'll do
It's
you
good.
one better. I bought it after watching it. That's how much I liked it.
That's what
You
I'm
know?
saying. I'm thinking about doing the same, honestly. So
Now, here's the funny part. I don't own the original 3, but I own that one. The reason for that is the original 3 I can't get for cheaper than like $30 in a set. But I got the Jackie Chan one for like $5 at the $5 bin at Best Buy. So that's the only reason why I own that one and don't own the other 2, or the other 3, I should say. And quite honestly, I would probably get the next one with Hilary Swank just to have the complete set, just because I'm a completist like that. But
Is Pat Morita in that with
What's
Hilary
that?
Swank? Is Pat
Yeah.
Morita in that one with Hilary Swank?
that's the reason why they can still call it the Karate Kid, because the Miyagi is the consistency there. Daniel doesn't show up at all. There might be a picture on the wall or something, but he himself doesn't show up anywhere.
Right.
The human being.
they're gonna go back and Lucas him in like 10 years.
Right. Well, I was surprised they didn't do that with Miyagi in this thing. Like, I'm glad that they acknowledge that Pat Morita passed in a way that means that Miyagi's passed and just kind of moved on with it, as opposed to recasting it or, like you talked about, Richie, like digitally putting him in some capacity,
Right.
They might have the money to do that now. To
Yeah.
do that digital
Yeah.
CGI.
But what you do get, and I think what they were able to do to still have a little bit of him in the show is, as we've already kind of touched on, the flashbacks, where you get these flashbacks to scenes from the movies. And you guys talked, I'm going to start and shut up because I've been talking the whole time, but it seems like that they're using, in some instances, some like deleted footage, like stuff that never actually made it into the original cinematic releases. Like the angle on the crane kick from the opening of the first episode is very different than the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because anytime you film a movie, and I'm gonna just probably go off on a small rant here, but anytime you film a movie, they're gonna film the same shot from a ton of different angles just in case. They're like, this one sucks, let's use this one. But hey, instances like this, you're glad you have all that shit lying around.
Right.
All that
You know what I
coverage.
mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it works well for trying to blend the two worlds together, right? Because you're blending the original film series with this TV series, as we talked about, and I think having the alternate angles and views, because there's another one with the from this season when he does a flashback to Chosen, and I think it's a different angle during the fight on the island during the dance at the end of 2. I think it's an alternate angle. So it's just nice to have those different things in there, and you can tell that it's still them. It's not, like stand-ins or whatever. I mean, it might still be stand-ins, but they're stand-ins from 1982 when the thing was shot, or 84 when the thing was shot, not, from 2015 or whatever.
Right.
So,
Because it would suck to have to
They didn't
reshoot all that.
that shit.
yeah, right. So, what do you guys think, Mike? You've been pretty quiet. I'm sorry, buddy. What are you thinking? On using the
What's that?
alternate
What was the question?
angles and the cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, on some of the episodes, I did see them use like alternate angles, and it kind of looked like they shot it, current, just using like stuntmen or whatever. So like they would have the camera like to the back of Johnny's head, like when he's getting kicked in the face from the crane kick. I don't know exactly what scene it was, but I do remember seeing like particular scenes from like the old movies, and it was just kind of like angled like differently, like where it would be shown like I said, like
Yeah.
Johnny's like back or whatever, and they would just have like a different stuntman in there to
Take the hit.
Just to show, take the hit or whatever like that, just to show a different angle. But like you said, they maybe they did have retro film, like extra film, like left over from the actual shoot. But
it feels like it. It feels like that's what they did. I mean,
but it blends in together with the show like seamlessly, so it works.
Yeah, all of it really does. But yeah, so we pick up with Johnny being a maintenance guy and kind of stuck in the 80s. I won't pick a specific year, but definitely stuck in the 80s for sure. And trying to figure out, driving around and seeing all, the success that Daniels had that at least in Johnny's eyes, and maybe there's some truth to this, comes strictly off the back-to-back wins of that tournament, and you see that, and he's your nemesis, and it's like, fuck you, like that's how you feel about it,
Yeah. Drowning his sorrows in alcohol and shit. I mean, that's the typical story of like I'm gonna relive my glory days a little bit. He's having that kind of flashback with his sensei and all that stuff.
Al Bundy moment.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is
I am in this post and I don't like it.
I was gonna say he's got to drink a better beer for damn sure. But that's a conversation.
Yeah, what were those drinks? Those little tiny. They look like tiny little like barrels.
It's Coors Banquet.
Yeah,
it's the original Coors, and that is how the bottle still. That is still how the bottle is packaged. Like if you go to the store right now and try to buy a 6-pack of Coors, but it will look just like that.
Yeah, shit flipped me out. I used to work for Miller Coors like briefly, and that shit flipped me out whenever I would go in the warehouse. I was like, they still fucking make it like this, Just looking at it like shit. I feel like this can't possibly be current product. It's old as shit.
Well, without trying to go off on too much of a tangent, I
no.
They brought the Miller Lite back around from where it used to, for a while there. They had the newer new age label with the swirl bottle and the whole bit, and they kind of took it back to the OG white and blue Miller Lite logo. So anyway, But
did anyone else notice that Johnny's cars progressively got less and less douchey over the series?
Well,
he started with B28 in the last season. He has a minivan.
I don't know that makes it less douchey, but sure. Especially
he goes like full soccer mom.
Especially
I was surprised that Daniel had a 92. What was it? A 92 Suburban. What was the car?
I don't remember. Whoops.
The van.
The
van.
92 Dodge Caravan. I think it is. Yeah.
93 Dodge Caravan. I'm surprised Daniel had.
Well,
it
was a trade-in. It was a trade-in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but a 92. It's 2020. I even have a 92. Anything.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you talk about it not being douchey, Todd, but technically he's driving around in a stolen vehicle. So, I mean, if you want to get technical,
wait.
As far as I know, Daniel was like, "Fuck it, I don't care. You could just keep it." But it was. No, he still has his apartment, Celeste. He still has the apartment in the complex where he was the maintenance guy and where he meets Miguel. And
Miguel and his mom,
which
that's the kid that has asthma, right?
What's that?
That's the kid that's got asthma, right?
I don't think he's got no. I don't think he had asthma, did he?
No,
that he gets his spine broken essentially at the end of season 2.
Right.
But I don't remember him having asthma.
I could have might be remembering wrong, but
the other kids, I think they had asthma. I think it was Hawk that had asthma in the first season.
Okay, he had
the mohawk.
Right, he's got the lip thing, but I didn't remember if he had the asthma. He might have. I'm not going to argue that.
So, yeah,
it might have been the other baby looking kid that has asthma too.
There might have been. But he meets Miguel, and it's a reverse Daniel situation. The kid's getting bullied all the time, and he's there, and I think he taught him like a punch or something to start. I think that was it. It was just like, this is how you. I don't remember. It's been so damn long since I saw it. And again, I didn't get the deep dive like I normally would for a recap like this because it was a last second decision to switch. But
Season 3 is fresh in my brain because we just finished it on
Okay.
Thursday or Wednesday night or whatever. So yeah, season 1 and 2. It's
Todd,
forever ago.
You said in chat about 3 being so much better than 1 and 2, and I think I have to kind of disagree with you on that. Like, I liked season 3. Don't get me wrong, but to me right now, season 2 is the best of the 3 of them. I thought season 2 was way better.
I like season 2 better than 3. I like 2 better than 3. Yeah,
Okay. I need to rewatch 2 then.
It's not that 3 is bad, but I don't know. The more I'm actually sitting here thinking about it, as I say it, Todd, I'd put it almost on par with each other because in season 2, you get all the feels for Johnny. He has that night out with the guys from the Cobra Kai, and they've all kind of turned the leaf, and they have a few beers, and they have the camping trip. And unfortunately, the one guy dies because he's like got cancer or something. I forget what he had, but he had some kind of condition.
And he actually died in real life.
Oh, that sucks. That
dude.
Which is kind of weird that he filmed his own death kind of thing. Like, it's kind of weird in a way that they did it like that because he was sick when they were filming it, and they had him, die in the show. And then I don't know how many.
That might have been
that might have been a way to write him out.
It could have been a conscious decision too. That they knew he was dying. Let's have the character die of the same thing, so they don't have to explain why he looks sickly on camera or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's probably what they.
Right.
Mike.
Yeah, I was happy to see all of them. The one guy obviously didn't make it to the show. I forget his name, but they said he was like in jail or whatever.
Shit.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he's actually Steve McQueen's son.
Wow.
Let me pull up the cast list here for Cobra Kai, and we'll see what's going on.
I was gonna bring up another kind of factoid about the show that I didn't realize at the time. It's not even it's just random for me. John Hurwitz, one of the guys that helped create the show, fucking worked on Harold and Kumar. How weird! The dude did the dick and fart joke, stoner movie. He's like, I'm gonna fucking tackle Cobra Kai. It's like, all right.
Well, I guess you can kind of see the jokes in
that's what I was going to get at too.
You talk about.
I will say Johnny is definitely funnier in this season than he has been in previous seasons. I laughed out loud many times this season than I did in the past. But I don't know. I guess
we were talking about the Jackie Chan remake, and you guys all know who the kid was in that film, the actor. That's Will Smith's kid. Will Smith's a producer, an executive producer on this show. He's very much involved in the Karate Kid lore. So
he must own part of the Karate Kid.
I think you're right, Mike. I think
he also produced the movie with his son too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now, who were we talking about? We were talking about
Chad McQueen.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So it's either his son or his grandson. I forget Steve McQueen. I would say I think it's
his name in the list here so I can get to his heritage.
I'll link. I have it.
But apparently,
you got it. Does it say, Todd? What the
link? As Chadwick Stephen McQueen. He is actor producer known for The Karate Kid.
It doesn't say here, but I have another way to look now that I got his name. So you.
I mean, I looked it up months ago because I was wondering why he wasn't in that episode when all the Cobra Kai's got together.
No, so you're saying the actor was in jail or the character?
No, the character.
And I guess they wanted to do it or whatever.
The actor himself.
He is the son of. You're right. Son of Steve McQueen.
Yeah. Something like that. Which I thought was crazy when I found that out. I was like, oh shit. I guess he doesn't really need to do it. He's got, You
know what I couldn't figure out is one of the there's one guy that from that crew that sticks out to me, and I will never forget him. And it's during the reason I won't forget him is because it's during the final fight. It's right before the crane kick, and everyone's screaming and yelling, and he clearly as day. And I'm willing to bet that they said to these actors, just yell stuff, right? Like this was, I'm willing to bet this wasn't in the script, but it's now one of the most famous lines from the movie. And you just hear him yell, "Put him in a body bag." And,
Yeah.
it is,
When the
but
greatest
I'm willing to
lines,
bet that's not
yeah.
scripted. I'm willing to bet that that's just right there, I don't think that's the same one that died, Jay. We were just talking
Oh, yeah.
about it. I don't think that's the one that yelled that line. I'm pretty no, because that guy's still yeah. So
The one I think the one.
Oh,
who
it
passed
is.
away
Okay,
is the
Jay's
one
right
who
then.
said,
My
"Yeah,
fault.
put him in a body."
Okay, I bet. But
Yeah.
but yeah, hey, Jess is here. What's going on, girl? I liked, so like I said, I was saying you got kind of like Johnny's redemption and kind of recovery, going back, meeting up with the Cobra Kais and all that stuff. And unfortunately, John Kreese coming back into his world, things like that. And then in season 3, you get the flip side of that with Daniel going back to Japan and ending up over in Okinawa and seeing Kumiko for the first time in, 30, 40 years. With
A lot of good surprises.
well, I knew
3,
Chosen was going to be there. Unfortunately, I happened to see a note that he was going to be there, but I didn't know that it was going to be like that. That was very what I read didn't say whether he was going to be, like an ally or an enemy, if you will. And I think the best way to describe him was a frenemy. By the end, I mean, like. They got along, but it didn't seem like I would say they were friends by the end of it either.
Right.
Yeah,
In the 3rd season, I think everything has been resolved.
Yeah.
I think everything's water on the bridge. I think.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, he was
just fucking with him
totally
this whole
fucking with
time.
him at the yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's why I wanted to bring it up because, like, I wasn't 100% clear on it. To me, you know what I mean? Like, you certainly.
Yeah, because he totally changed his tone after a while. After they had their little scuffle, their little fight or whatever, he totally changed his tone and everything was fine.
See, now did the actor that played Sato's passed on as well? Am I correct on that, gentlemen? Do we know offhand?
I'm not sure.
I believe he is.
But it was great to see the little
good
girl.
point, Mike. I forgot about that.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a really cool surprise. I did not see that coming at all. Because when he went up to meet her for lunch, and there was a girl sitting next to her, I thought it was gonna be like, "Oh, this is our daughter," or something like that. But he's like, "Yeah, you know her. Like we're friends or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, it's a little girl. That's really cool. I did not see that coming."
So
that was a really
let me
cool
ask you guys this, and I'm because I'm just honestly lazy and haven't looked it up, but we know that the Kumiko actress is the same actress. We know Chosen's the same actress. Was it the same actress that was the little girl that was actually up on the ladder? Do we know?
I think it was.
Okay. And see, that's one of the things I love when shows or movies, even if there's a movie that's like doing a sequel, this many years later, they do that. They bring the same people back. Like Rico references this all the time with Lethal Weapon. Murtaugh's family, the whole way through the franchise, is the same actors. The daughter, the wife, the son, it's all the same actors from Lethal Weapon 1 through Lethal Weapon 4. Mm-hmm. And,
Yeah. I want to say if Cobra Kai, the show, couldn't get that little girl, the woman that she is now, to play that part, they would have written something else. That's how I would have taken it. Like if they couldn't get her, then they probably would have written to where I forget their names, Chosen or the other girl, would have been able to get him out of his dilemma with the car dealership. But since they had her, they could bring her in. They're probably like, oh, let's just have the little girl.
Or they would have worked out something different where Chosen ended up owning the car place because of Sato. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I think they wrote
Kateri, welcome. Welcome. That. I'm glad you figured out your tech stuff. I'm glad you're with us. We got just a recap. We got Kateri's here, but Jess is here. We got Jay as always. Mark's here. DJ Celesta from Radio Airwaves, and then I got my boys here on the screen. We got Logo Mike, Rich Agent Midnight Raw from Super Media Brothers. I'm gonna get that right one day. Swear to God.
Midnight Agent Raw.
I'll get it right.
I know.
I think I fucked it up on the tweet too. Then, but whatever.
It's all good. It's all good.
And then we got Todd the 206 geek. So we're all hanging out talking Cobra Kai and Karate Kid. So, so Kateri agrees with you, Todd. She likes season 3 the best so far, which is fine. There's definitely that fight scene. All right, let's do a side by side comparison real quick. Since we've all seen all 3 seasons, the fight scene in the LaRusso home versus the fight scene in the school. Which is the better fight scene?
I mean, I got to say the in-house fight was probably
more damage done in the house than there was at the
in
school, I think, other than the kid breaking back.
Right. And what's her name getting sliced with that like spiked brass knuckles or whatever? I can't remember. Larissa's daughter getting sliced. Yeah, getting her arm sliced. Yeah, I think you're right about the damage, Mike. I think that's right. I got to be honest with you. First off, and just spinning off for a brief second, I like the fact that because at first Daniel's daughter didn't really have a nemesis. It was really more about Miguel. And Miguel's still a main character, but she didn't really have like an antagonist, right? And now they've written this girl in whose name is escaping me, and she is basically the Johnny for Samantha, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that they have that. I think you need that dynamic. And, you know, it's taking me back to those days, remembering that from that season. So anyway, when they end up in the dojo, the Miyagi dojo towards the end of the fight, I was getting flashbacks to what Chosen did to the dojo in Okinawa when they go and like trash the house that one night because they're just trying to get Miyagi to come out and fight. If you remember,
right?
And I was waiting for like a almost another version of that, you know, because you know when we talked about the Jackie Chan one, there's a lot of moments. There's actually a couple lines that I think are direct from the original script. Like if you watch the original Karate Kid and the Jackie Chan one, I think there's a couple of lines that are almost identical, like word for word. So it wouldn't have stunned me. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to shut up for a few minutes, guys, because I've been rambling. So please.
All right. Well, hey, you know, I was going to say I really enjoyed Cobra Kai. I when I found out about the show, it was right after season 1 ended, and they were in production for season 2. So I binge watched season 1, anticipating season 2, and it was a great show. I like we said earlier, enjoyed like the flashback sequences with the movies, which was great. I wish more like, you know, sequels or spin-offs would do stuff like that. They don't, but they should. If we get a season 4, I would love to see like a reference to the newer Karate Kid if possible. Even if it's just like a cameo from Jaden Smith or something. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. And season 3, like I said earlier, was, I think, still my favorite season. Just because of all the action and all the storyline. I think there was a lot more comedy in the 3rd season, too. See a lot of snarky comments and
sorry, Dad.
And just kind of.
No, I'm sorry, Todd. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but she's like, I don't give a fuck about the show. Meaning Karate Kid or Cobra Kai. Right.
Oh, good. And I'm glad they got a lot of the same people to come back. I mean, it is as funny as the vacation movies are. The one thing that always kind of annoyed me is the fact that the kids were never the same.
See, that might annoy you, but I always thought that shit was hilarious. Like, I don't know why. I just think it was funny because there's a lot of references to Clark always forgetting Audrey's name and shit. So, like, the fact that the kids change, I don't know. I kind of found that to be hilarious. Where he's like, if he forgets her name, it's like, oh, the kids look.
Right. I don't know. I think it was. Well, we won't go on to different topics, but yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
I'm actually looking forward to season 4, man, because I know they're going to bring in aspects of Karate Kid 3. I mean, when John Kreese, you see him on the phone calling someone, like, you know, I need you to come help me out or whatever. I'm guessing it has to be Terry Silver.
You're probably right. I didn't even think about it. You're probably right.
That makes sense.
Or both of them, or both. Yeah, but it's kind of weird because like, what's his name? Kreese, that actor. He's like 74. Terry.
I'm getting. I got it right now. Give me 1 second.
Martin
Covey. Yeah.
Terry Silver. He's like in his like 50s or whatever. So like when they were in Vietnam together, they're like 20 years apart from each other, hypothetically. But apparently they're playing the same age. But obviously next season, Terry Silver and Mike Barnes are going to be a part of that.
By the way, what do you think about those flashbacks, the Vietnam flashbacks? What did you guys think about that from this season?
I liked his origin story. I liked how it showed like how he came to like name the Cobra Kai, karate dojo and everything like that. Why he became such a badass. It's kind of like like a Darth Vader kind of thing. Like he grew up, a simple kid, nice kid or whatever like that. He lost somebody he loved really close to him, and then he just turned. He just became dark, and
he
went all
he
hell
has
from
seen
there.
some
But,
shit. Like that's seriously,
Yeah,
I agree with Mike on that one, because that's good character development. It's good character building, and you love to see it.
Yeah. You get
Exactly.
to see why he is the way he is.
So just for clarity, and you're not wrong, Mike. He is 74. If my math is right. Yeah, he's 74. He was 74. He'll be 75 this year, but he's not till March. So, yeah. Yeah. So,
birthdays. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. That he's 74 and still doing like karate moves the way he's doing. Like,
yeah.
God bless him, man.
And that's a thing. Like they had to, a lot of people, and call it a stereotype or whatever you want, but a lot of people thought Pat Morita knew karate going into those first movies, and he was like, no.
Right.
And also, the accent is not like that's. He had to put that accent on. If you hear him talk in interviews, he's, I don't know.
Yeah. Pat Morita actually came up as a comedic actor.
Happy Days, man.
I think but I think he did like, I don't want to say stand up, but he did the Chicago. Chicago.
Not Upright Citizens. Groundlings.
No,
yeah,
not that. Growling.
Yeah,
but I think he came up doing like growling stuff, and he wanted to be more of like a comedic actor. Yeah, like doing improv and stuff like that. So, basically in his early career, he was known as a comedic actor, and then he gets, I guess he is kind of funny in Karate Kid, so he does have those moments and everything like that. But yeah, everybody's, every time you see him, just see him as, what do you call it? I'm blanking on names. I'm drunk already, so just disregard what I'm saying right now. So yeah, like once he became like in the Karate Kid, everybody just that's Mr. Miyagi.
He got stereotyped as that character.
Definitely. So Jess is asking for a little bit of backstory on the show because she's not familiar with it all. So, and we've talked about it a little bit, Jess. I'm not going to go deep into it again, but essentially, it's a continuation of right after the third Karate Kid. Essentially, it's like what would happen after 30, 40 years after the last Karate Kid. And what happened with those characters? What have they been through? What have they been through in the last, 30 years? What's their life like now? And how are they interacting with each other now? And that's essentially what the show is about. But what's real, as we talked about earlier, what's really nice about it is it's a true sequel. It's not a reboot in any capacity. It's a flat out fucking sequel with a 30-year gap in between, and to all our points, they have not fully referenced the Karate Kid 3 yet, but we all think it's coming in the next season.
It's got to be. Yeah, dude, because a lot of people say like, "Oh, Karate Kid's great," and then like second, third one may not have been on par or whatever. But I think they all have something to offer as films, and I think like revisiting the third one and then like going into season 4, the third film referencing, that'd be great. And I've said this a bunch of times about like sequel series like this. I'd much rather have a series than like a sequel film because you get so much more. Like
Right.
people don't, think about that. Like people kind of at first were just like, oh, why are we getting a TV series? It's not even Cobra Kai, but just in general, they're like, why are we getting a TV series of whatever it is? And my mind is set as, well, again, you get more show, you get more time frame with these characters than you would in like a 2 hour.
Yeah, but sometimes
so
that doesn't
You know,
always
the
play
Snyder
well.
Cut.
Yeah.
What's that time?
What, CJ?
They're doing that with the Snyder Cut.
And Daniel
The
kind of
Snyder Cut
planted the
could be a mini
seeds.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of planted the seeds that, they're going to be talking about Karate Kid 3 in this next season, because when Daniel's talking to his daughter and he's like, I had to face this one guy who like scared the hell out of me. We do a flashback of him fighting Mike Barnes. So like, they're kind of like throwing, planting the seeds there a little bit that, this is going to come up again, possibly in season 4. Most definitely in season 4. I would have to imagine. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how many more seasons they have in them. I would think maybe like 4 or 5. 5 might be the last. I don't know if they can do 6 because it seems like they're kind of coming to like the end of it. Like I don't know how much turmoil they can have between Johnny, and Kreese, and
I'm glad you brought that up,
Daniel.
Mike, because I was thinking the same thing. By the end of the season, the way they ended season 3, first off, cliffhanger is a motherfucker compared to the other ones. I mean, like, son of a bitch. But also, like, here's the problem, right? And I'm taking off Cobra Kai for a second, just going to end the TV shows in general. When you have the main male character and the main female character who've had the sexual tension for season after season, and they finally get together, and this show usually goes to shit. Not always, but generally speaking. Like, let's be real. For those who are fans of the X-Files, when Scully and Mulder finally got together, it kind of fell apart. I've heard the same thing about Bones. I never watched it, but I heard the same thing about that show. When that, I didn't watch it, Todd, so I could be way wrong on that. I don't know, but like the point is that when you have the male and female characters get together, it tends to kill the show. Not always, but more times than not, right? The same thing happens when your protagonist and your antagonist become friends. And I'm really kind of concerned about how good the season's going to be when you have Daniel and Johnny working one-on-one. Now, they have this common enemy in Kreese, which still gives the antagonist, but like, unless there's going to be this huge thing with Terry Silver and Mike Barnes, like, and you might be right, Mike, they're probably coming in, and I know you guys, other guys said it too, but like, it depending on how they write it, and they've been writing well so far, so I have faith, but like, I thought bring them to.
Yeah. I just see it as like the end game is going to be Johnny and Daniel coming together, opening up their own dojo, and just and that's what that's exactly what they're doing right now. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is like
that's what I mean. So like what
Cobra Kai.
That's why I don't think listen. Unless they do something drastic in a good way, I think this next season is going to have to be the last season because I don't know how you continue it after you finish the story out. Like I don't know. Even with Mike Barnes and Terry Silver coming back, like I don't know how you do it. Todd, you're shaking your head. I feel like you disagree.
I mean, maybe season 5 can just be like a long epilogue kind of series. Just like everything's good and dandy, and like this is what everybody's doing now, and it kind of just like goes from there. I don't know, but I would say at least season 4.
I was shaking my head at the comments in the chat room.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're giving me grief for liking Bones.
Oh, well, I mean, I never watched it, so I can't say I didn't like. I've just never watched it, so I can't speak to it. But
I dug it. I thought it was a cool show.
I think it's 10.
They're like
I think there's like 10
seasons.
I think it's like 75.
Just to give
Give or
Jess
take
some love because she doesn't give a fuck about the things we're talking about so far. I just saw today that they're doing a Witcher sub-series, an animated sub-series. Like it's going to be tied into the live action series, but I guess it's like filler until the next live action season. So, Jess, I know you're a fan. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's on the worth the wait thing on Netflix, so that you can like get reminded about it. So, there you go. I know you're a huge fan, Jess. That's why I brought it up.
I tried one feature.
I'm not a huge fan, but that's not a thing. Jess will tell you, and she said this to me privately too, but I'm not saying anything out of turn. The first two, I think she said the first two episodes are hard to get through, but once you get through those, are really good. Like it gets really good. I haven't tried, so I can't speak to it, but she is. I trust Jess when she says stuff like that. So if she says it, I believe that there's some truth to that. Richie, what did you think of what we've been talking about? Like, what do you think about the show as a whole and bring it together and the likelihood, like where it's going right now?
I like where it's heading. I mean, like I said before, it's great character development. You have all the like. I'm impressed with a lot of the young actors. Like, I do have to say that I'm impressed with a lot of the new cast members, like all the new faces you've seen, because it's hard to establish somebody you don't know, and I think the series has done a great job of keeping the spirit of like the original alive, but also introducing a ton of new characters without changing it too much. Like I always have a problem when shows try to change it up too much, and I think there's a really good balance as far as where it's going with season 4 and Barnes and all those guys. I don't know why it popped into my head, but it's like, what if it could be the end of Cobra Kai as a dojo or whatever, but like, what the hell happens if because we don't know what the hell's coming. What would happen if he rolls in and he's like, well, I have my own crew now. He's got his own.
It becomes like a three-way battle.
Yes. Like that would be one of the ways I could see it going, is where like, okay, you got, Johnny and Daniel working together now, but now they don't know what they might be getting into.
Right.
So that's kind of a,
well, and
I don't know. It may be some,
and that's how I think you get the season 5 that we're talking about. Because if they work together and wipe out Cobra Kai, but then Terry Silver comes in and goes, "Yeah, fuck you, I'm bigger than all y'all," and now they got to go after him. Then there's a way to do it. So it really kind of depends on they do that. One of the things I've enjoyed about the show, and I don't see a lot of them, but there's these little Easter eggs throughout the series that if you know what you're looking for, like for example, that sequence I referenced with the fight between the two girls in the Miyagi-Do dojo, right? When she actually throughout the season, I think, but definitely in that scene, the girl, not Samantha, the antagonist, shows up wearing a hoodie that's got a skeleton on it. It's a skeleton hoodie. It's a rib cage. And to me, that's a throwback to the Halloween sequence from the first one. Now, I'm willing to bet that's intentional, but they don't address it. It doesn't get like, they're not saying, okay, it's, that kind of thing. But, what do you guys think about Elizabeth Shue making an appearance? Alex, I love them back in.
When they teased it at the end of season 2 last year, I was like, oh, she's finally going to be in season 3, and then we got through like 5 episodes, 6 episodes, 7 episodes, and I'm like, where is she? Like, are they not even going to have her like in this season? Like, we're just like playing with our balls, and
you're getting shoe balls,
Cobra Kai balls.
No, it's Elizabeth Shoe balls. Shoe balls.
And then when they get into, I think it was like episode 8, they open up with Allie's mom or whatever. And I'm like, who's she or whatever like that. And then she goes in, and she sees Allie. I'm like, oh, here we go. Thank God she made it. So it was great to see her. Like she definitely added.
Added some flavor to it.
So a little bit of flavor, but just bringing Johnny and like Daniel's son and kind of like squashing the beef, helping them, squash the beef together and getting that out of the way. I think it was, she definitely needed to come back and tell her side of the story. So I was happy to see that. So it was great. And then I don't think they needed to make her divorced. I thought that was kind of stupid. Like, why would you even bother making her divorce unless her and Johnny are going to get together, which isn't going to happen. Johnny's going to end
But
up with Miguel's
it added that little bit of
mom, I would assume.
tension from the viewer perspective. From the viewer perspective, that it almost happened. And if you remember, they do almost kiss, and then I think her phone rings, or someone's phone's ring. I think it's hers. But yeah, and you know, it's but I agree. I don't think they needed to make her divorce, but I do think it added an extra level of drama. Jess, Mark's not feeling really well, so he's here, but I don't think he's up to coming on camera. And obviously, the 4 windows are taken in anyway, but I don't think he's up to it tonight anyway. He's not feeling very well. But I appreciate the support, and I appreciate him being here, listening, and hanging out with us. So that thank you. Yeah, I agree. Though I liked her coming in. I was with you a little bit, Mike, about like where is she? Like, because they ended the season, the second season with the friend request or whatever. I did think it was the letting it drag on a little bit though, and having the sequence with Miguel's teaching Johnny how to use Facebook Messenger. I thought was kind of fun. It's like don't send. Yeah, don't worry about me, Kateri. I'm just face filler here. Don't worry about me.
It's kind of poetic too that they brought Ellie back too, because she kind of started the rivalry between Johnny and Daniel.
Right.
Like kind of started with her, and now it's like ending with her. You know what I mean? Like she made them enemies, and now she's making them allies. So
and going back to the Easter eggs, I like Johnny wearing the white suit and almost getting hit with spaghetti just by accident. Like little things like that. I thought that was good.
But
yeah. I think there's going to be this like love-hate thing between them. Like I don't think you're ever going to see them just be like, "I love you, man." Like that kind of shit ain't going to happen. But you're not. I think the to your point, Mike, about them bringing friends. The you think so?
I think in the end they will become BFFs. I think in the end it is. Yeah, because Ellie said she's like, you guys are more.
No worries.
God, I'm fucking just drawing blanks today, man. I don't know.
Mercury's in retrograde, my friend.
That's in the air going on. But Ellie was saying you guys are more alike than you think you are. So in the end, they're really going to see that and just become BFFs and just start hanging out together, having Christmas dinners together. Shooting the shit together all the time. So drinking Coors Banquet
and I think you see.
together.
I think drinking Coors. I think you see tips of that. They're like when they're driving around looking for Robbie. The one episode, in Daniel's car, and then they flip sides, and Johnny's driving the car like a bat out of hell and almost crashes the thing. I did like the fact, speaking of cars real quick, that I think it was the end of season 1, he does get a Mustang Cobra. I thought that was pretty impressive. It was nice little little Easter egg stuff, but whatever.
Now, have any of you guys seen the Josh Gad does a YouTube thing called Reunited Apart, where he gets cast members of movies from years and years ago together to do a Zoom call. Well, they recently did one for Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, where everybody got together on a Zoom call and they talked about the filming of the show and the movies and stuff.
Okay. No, I haven't seen it. No.
I haven't seen that.
They also did they did Back to the Future as well, Goonies. What else? They did one they were going to do one for John Hughes as well. But yeah, just look for Josh Gad on YouTube. You'll find the Reunited Apart is what it's called. They're pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of the series. I just haven't gotten to watch any of them yet. Now, because you said the name of it, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I'm a Josh Gad fan.
Definitely have to check it out, though.
I'm a fan of Josh Gad. I'd be curious to see that. Jess, why do you say Back to the Future would have been difficult? I'm curious. I think everybody's still around, right? Yeah, everybody's still around. Yeah.
Probably because
he was there and he talked.
I mean, he's acting again. You know.
I think he retired for good this last.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
retired
I
again.
hadn't heard that, but he was on a series
Yeah.
like a year ago or something, or like 2 years ago maybe at this point, but just recently, you know, from. Okay.
The
he
Back to the Future one was
retired.
pretty good. Although there was 2 people missing from the initial call, but at the very end of the video, or in a video that followed it, they had those other people. So,
Who is missing? I mean, I don't think that ruins anything.
I'm trying to remember his actual name, but the guy who played Biff wasn't in the original call.
Chris, Mike, we talked about him on the episode because we talked about saw him singing.
I think.
Something
My brain is not
Wilson.
working
I'm
today,
pretty
so there's
sure
no way I'm gonna be able
it's
to
something
remember his
Wilson.
name, so.
Thomas Wilson.
Is it? Okay, Tom Wilson. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Tom Wilson.
And then the original, Marty's the original actress to play his girlfriend.
Oh, the
in
original
first movie.
Jennifer. The original Jennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you know, interesting side fact. There was a Telltale game for the PlayStation 4 Back to the Future, and they actually got her to come back, and she plays Jennifer in that. She voiced the Jennifer character for that game.
Nice. I have that game. PS3.
Oh, it's so good. It really was. Yeah, it was a good game. You know, what's that?
Right.
Speaking of Elizabeth.
Yeah, right. Well, she was fucking everywhere in the
Elizabeth Shue.
80s and early 90s, man. She was everywhere. Elizabeth.
Babysitter Club. Adventures and
Adventures in Baby.
Which
Yeah,
movie I
I
didn't
used to
hear? I'm
love
sorry.
that movie. I still love that movie.
I've only
Adventures in
seen that
Babysitting?
like once, and I was like 12 when I saw it, like or whatever. Like I need to look at it again, but
Yeah, it's worth a revisit.
Oh, such a great movie. I don't know if it'll hold up now that you're, 40
well,
years
well,
old,
some of those movies,
but it's still a good movie. I mean, I watched it with my
yeah, but some of those movies
couple
hold
years
up.
ago, and
You know, I mean, there's movies like
you
that
liked
that
it too,
I
so.
watch, and still hold up. I mean, Karate Kid's a good example. Like Karate Kid came out in '84, and I'd watch that tomorrow. You know what I mean? Oh.
Yeah, Adventures in Babysitting is more like a B
fair
movie,
enough.
though.
Fair enough.
Karate
Absolutely.
Kid.
We were talking about
Top-notch,
reunions. Since you brought up reunions, Todd, I'm gonna go way off topic for a minute. But did anyone watch that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air one on HBO Max?
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I caught
What's
a bit
that,
of
Mike?
it.
I didn't
Yeah,
know there was one.
Oh, dude.
I didn't even know there was one.
I
That's
caught a
crazy.
bit of it. Yeah, I caught a bit of it, and like I had internet issues that day, so I like cut off like halfway through. But like what I did get to watch of it was fucking amazing. It was really cool to hear everybody talk about time on the show and everything.
Okay, so there's like
No,
a
they
sit-down
all the
interview
cast
type
members
thing.
all
It
sit
wasn't
together
like
like in the
a-
old
They like
living
rebuilt
room,
the
like,
set
of
and
the
brought them
house.
in, and they're just kind of sitting there
Mhm.
talking. And yeah, to your point, Kateri, even though James Avery wasn't there for obvious reasons, they did a really good job of honoring him. Though there was a nice chunk of time where they really honored that. And yes, Celeste, there was a lot of backstory about what happened with Will Smith in the original and Viv, and they really did a nice way of fixing that too. Like it was really, really well done.
Oh, I rolled a tear on
I
that.
did.
That was.
Oh my
great.
god, yes, I cried so hard. I ugly cried.
I rolled a tear during that and during
man.
the James
I
Avery
watch it.
tribute. Both times I rolled a massive tear for that. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I don't care. I've seen the footage at least 24 times now, just because I've seen it in various things I've watched. But the scene of Will and Alfonso Ribeiro in Will's dressing room, like pre-show, doing that dance with the, not the Carlton, but the other one they do with the hips, the dun 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 dun. Jump on it,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
I laugh every time I see that footage, and I've seen it a bunch. So, but that was a really good. It was a really good.
Once, didn't they?
What's that?
Didn't they do that on the show once too?
Yeah, that's where it came from. It came from the show, and then they still would do that, apparently. And this is something that I only found out during the reunion, but apparently Will's dressing room, as you would imagine, was wired for sound. Like the sound system, you could hear it like the next studio over. Is how powerful the shit was, and so everyone would go and hang out after, or right before showtime, and hang out in Will's dressing room with music going, and it was yeah. So, well, now hold on. Jess is yelling at us about not wanting new or not liking nostalgia, so I'm trying to catch up here on what she's saying. Bear with me here.
I love nostalgia, but
let's see. I have to have weekly content. Yeah, that is all funny. Terry. She's a historian that hates nostalgia, or not likes nostalgia, but hates like wants new content all the time. So, oh, we know that, Jess, but we love you for it. Anyway, that's. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. That's kind of where I'm at on everything. Does anyone want to jump in and say anything? We can give you some space here, or we can just move on to a new topic for the last 40 minutes or so that we got. Anything. If you got something you want to talk about, Jess, jump in. We can make space for you for a few minutes. Hang around. You're gonna hang around, though, right, Mike? You're gonna hang around and hang out in the chat room or whatever. Oh, cool. All right.
All right, Mike. Yeah. I'll be here.
Later, dude.
Later, guys.
Here we go. There she is.
Why is it a here we go every time I come on the air? Like, oh shit, this is nutty.
Like you know we love you, Jess.
So how is it like nostalgia, but you're a historian? I don't understand that.
Well, I like nostalgia when it deserves it. Not that Fresh Prince wasn't great. It was obviously great, but it was great for its time period. It was great for what it represented. I don't think it's one of the things I would choose to revive. In fact, okay, here's the thing. Why historian and I don't love nostalgia? Does everybody love imperialism? Because I certainly fucking don't. I don't want to bring it.
But Jess,
that's the same way I feel about TV shows. Like,
wait, Jess,
why don't create things?
Just to be clear, though, Jess, they're not bringing the show back. It was a one-off 30-minute, just bring everyone together and be nostalgic about it. That's all. That's all it was.
It was.
Yes, Todd.
It was a way to get money, and it's a way to pull on heartstrings, which I don't.
No, they are doing a new show, but it's going to be a drama. It's not going to be a sitcom.
Are they really?
Yes.
I didn't hear that. So that's
I can't roll my eyes harder. Like the roll they're doing right now is just ridiculous. Jeez.
I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see it. You know?
I would rather masturbate to a porn I've seen 4 times. Like, come on. Like, it's just like, it's
only 4?
Come up with new ideas. It's not that.
Oh, fucking shit.
Sorry.
You have nothing to be sorry about, Jess. We know what we sign up for, my dear. We know this. So
I've had enough to drink and not enough to eat that I'm just like, I'm not here to. I don't know. Create new content. There are a billion books out there you can base content off. There are a billion things to do. Or here's a novel idea. Create your own content. Create your own content. How daunting that must fucking be.
Celeste says, wait, there's a limit to how many times one can masturbate to a porn video? No.
Well, it depends on how good it is. No. It depends on how good it is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm always going to love Indiana Jones, but after a while, can't flick your bean to it anymore. Different.
Flick your bean.
They screwed the pooch so bad in the crystal
I love that one better than Temple. I've heard that. I still stick to it.
Right, I am
oh my god.
it's not that
Oh,
big
shit.
of an ask to create new content.
No,
Hollywood.
no, it's not.
That's the whole fucking job.
Well, and that's the thing with this, like the show that we're talking about, Jess. You don't have to like the Karate Kid, and that's all good and fine. I'm not going to sit here and argue that fact with you. But this is all new content. It might be based on old content, but it is all new stuff. You know, so
Saying like it's not something I didn't like. It's not something I particularly loved in nostalgia. That like I can never live another day if I see all the Karate Kids again. Absolutely, I can. But that fact makes want to watch it because it is new content. It is new content based on a previous story. So I can be about that. I'm going to check it out. I just can't live with not new content. It's
so let me ask you something real quick then, just based on that kind. I'm not even arguing with you. I'm more just curious because I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to understand your mindset, really, right? So you had a problem with the Fresh Prince reunion show where they came in and got together and just talked about the old episodes. But wait, hear me out. If they had just said that they're continuing this story where, for example, and I'm making it up because I don't know what they're doing, but where Will and his wife were basically like the Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil for someone else, that would be more okay with you than them sitting down and kind of rehashing the old content. I'm just asking. Yeah.
palatable.
Okay.
I'm not. Okay. I would love it, but I definitely find it more palatable because something's already been created. You cannot, in essence, recreate a thing that already exists.
Right. You can reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
You can't resplit the atom, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was a continuation, I have more respect for that than just a genuine reboot of a story that already.
I agree. And that's, you know, the show ended up being shit, but that's what I liked about what they tried to do with the Saved by the Bell relaunch because it was their kids at the school. It's terrible, but they at least tried it. And then also with what they tried to do with the 90210 reboot, where it was them relaunching the show and where the characters would have been at that point in their lives. And it ended up going to shit. But the point was they at least gave it a try.
But I'm also a person that does not believe in supporting like nostalgia bullshit because we're just going to keep getting that same content. We're just going to be fed over and over bullshit. And I've already seen it. It's already been done to the best of the ability. Like, fine, I love Mandalorian, but look at what a fucking desecration most of the Star Wars bullshit has been. Quit feeding me
Jess,
the same
just for the record, you may not want to be here next week. Because next week is Mandalorian.
So I was very quick to judge based on the first season. I finished it when I was home over Christmas.
No.
Granted, I was super high, y'all. So that may be a fitting factor. Like fucking super high. So I was like, yeah, put this shit on. I don't give a fuck. You know, like I was like, yeah, what do you mean Boba Fett comes back? I'm about it. Like that's the mindset I was in. But I ended up finishing it and I thought it was very, very good. Man. So actually I'm poised.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll definitely be there. I'm gonna be talking about it on my show.
That's the only thing I've really liked. The only thing I liked of any of the recent movies, though, was the last, minute and 30 seconds of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Just because I've been waiting my whole life to watch Darth Vader go.
That sequence is good. Yes, I can't argue with you. That's, yeah.
But that, I will say, and I won't talk about it anymore, like, whether it's because I was super high me or whether it was good, I don't know. I thought it was good. I was in it to win it, watched it like from where I was in the first season all the way to the end. And I was like, yeah, I love this shit. But again, like hitting just insane weed out of anything you can hit it out of. You're all weed smokers. I'll leave it to your imagination. But yeah, I was definitely in the mood for some Mandalorian by the end of that. I was like, fuck yeah, Boba Fett comes back.
Well, I mean, when you get tired of flicking the bean to Indiana Jones, you got Boba for that. So you just flip over to that one, and you're ready to rock and roll. So.
Oh, I was rocking and rolling. I'll tell you that. Like
so.
In every sense.
Yeah, I don't know where to go after.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I'll definitely be there next week for that one.
What's that?
Sure.
Sorry, I derailed what I do. I derailed the whole conversation. We were talking about Cobra Kai. I'm gonna be I'm gonna give it a chance.
I'll put it this way, Jess. If you like the movies, if you genuinely like the movies, I'm not talking about love them like the best things on the planet, but just enjoyed watching them, enjoyed the movies, then I genuinely think you will enjoy the show because it has all the same feels, it has all the same vibe with the modern twist on it. That's all it is, and not in a reboot way, but just in that continuation. So. I think based on that, I think you'll enjoy it personally, so.
I really would, and I'm going to give it a watch now. Like, you've all inspired me to stop.
The thing I'll tell you is the same thing you said about Witcher. You need to give it more than the first episode. Do you know what I mean? Like, the first episode good. What's that?
You need starting.
Yeah. I mean, the first episode's good. Don't get me wrong, but you don't really get into the meat and potatoes of it until I'd say about episode 4 or 5. You know what I mean? And then that's when you really kind of hooked. And even with this last season, and Todd, I know again you said it's your favorite, and I'm not gonna, the one thing I never argue with people about it is if you say something's your favorite, that's fine. I don't have to agree with you, but that's because your favorite doesn't make you wrong, right? So. Todd, that's Todd's favorite. But even for me, season 3, for me, the first 2 episodes of season 3 were really weak. It wasn't until Johnny got a little sober again that it kind of came back around for me. But those first 2 episodes were a little weak for me. That's just me though, Todd. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
But yeah, just give it a chance. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I really do. If you like the movies, you'll enjoy it. And they're half-hour episodes, so they're not hard. They're not long watches. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you can digest a few of them pretty quickly, and then take a break if you feel like you need to, and then come back. Like it's not one of those. Like I hate those. One of the things about the Netflix series was like the Marvel Netflix series. Like I loved Daredevil, I loved Punisher, but some of those episodes at an hour each drug on. Like some of them were hard watches at an hour.
Yeah. And I think what pissed me off about those is that we kind of got the rug slipped out from under us before most of those shows could finish their arcs. And I think for me, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, and like I have the general consensus that if they do that, you become almost completely uninterested in seeing whatever the unfinished product is going to be. Like you're like, oh, they canceled it after season whatever. You're like, well, fuck, I don't want to watch it now because you're just kind of like, well, there's no actual ending to the story arc, and I fucking hate that shit. Like that happened with Ash versus Evil Dead for me. Whenever I was watching that show and season 3 ended, I was like, fuck yeah, where are they going to go from here? Because holy shit, we're about to get in some really good new territory. Canceled, and they actually had it planned for 5 seasons, and so like Sam and Bruce and Rod Tapper did not get to finish their vision for that, and it pissed me off.
Same thing happened. I mean, it's a different type of show, but same thing happened with Ray Donovan. Like I was a huge Ray Donovan fan, and the fact that they killed that the way they did pisses me off. But getting back to what Mandalorian does, I think really well, without getting into a deep dive on the show, but just about the formatting, right? Not every episode's a half hour. Not every episode's an hour. There's enough episode to tell whatever the story they're trying to tell for that episode, and then it's done. So you've got some that are 20 minutes, and you've got some that are 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And then you got most of them to be about a half hour, but some are a little bit shorter, some are a little bit longer. because if the story's told, they're done and they just move on. And that's all I'm saying, Kateri. I'm not saying anything. It's more about formatting, because going back to the Marvels shows, they're all an hour, and there was 13 episodes. That's the other thing Mando does right. It's 8 episodes. They get the story in, they get it out. It sucks because you want more, but it's good because it leaves you wanting more, as opposed to going, oh my God, we got more episodes, you know? So
less is
like,
always more.
that's what made the Defenders honestly the best of the Marvel shows on Netflix, because it was 8 episodes at an hour apiece, and I thought they were all good. You know, and honestly, it made me like Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because I was not a huge fan of the individual shows. Hated Iron Fist. Luke Cage was okay, but on the Defenders, I thought they were awesome. So,
and that was the whole idea. Eventually, was to have Danny Rand and Luke Cage team up and have their own fucking story arc. You know, because if you saw the way both of those ended, it was like, oh shit, is Danny gonna like have to knock some sense into Luke, you know, by the end of it? But
well, I mean, and I read somewhere, I think Jess is like, fuck this Marvel shit, I'm out. I love you, Jess. One of the things that I was really interested in with that series is while we're oh, she's back. Okay. One of the things I was really interested with that series that I liked was with the whole thing with those two, because Danny Rand, the character on that show, was terrible. Like, that character was hard to watch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It took me until the ass end of the second season to really be like, okay, I'm sold. And I hate to say it, because I actually like the Iron Fist comics and shit. It kind of disappointed me that it took that long to get to like, okay, now we're really going to get down to some fucking business, and then just gone.
Well, I think I got my point back. They did announce that Charlie Cox is making an appearance somewhere in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Daredevil. I think it's in the next Spider-Man, but don't quote me on that.
Yes, Spider-Man.
That's a rumor coming around that he'll be Parker's lawyer, which would be a good tie-in, honestly, because I feel like now that a lot of the rights are starting to revert back and their like non-compete clause with Netflix is finally going the fuck away, Marvel would be stupid to not integrate them into the main MCU arc, even though those series did reference, you know, the films, and they were set at a street level within those universes. They really need to bring those guys up, because say what you will, and I'm not CJ, if you go actually back, and I'm kind of getting off on another tangent, if you go back to one of the Super Media Bros early episodes, I actually called them fucking casting old boy to be the Punisher. I was like, he would be a great Punisher, because like Shane on The Walking Dead had that kind of same fucking like physicality and attitude. I was like, he'd be a great fucking Frank Castle. And lo and behold, they cast John Bernthal. I was like, fucking A, bring him in, bring Charlie Cox in. He's probably like one of the best actors to bring a character like that to life. You know, even though we've only gotten Affleck's version, I fucking love Charlie Cox as an actor.
But here's the thing about here's my only issue with Charlie Cox, and it's not even him. Let me rephrase that. I felt like the way they did the Defenders, as much as I loved the Defenders show, he felt really out of place to me. Like, it was like the one guy in costume and 3 people in street clothes. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that, but at the same time, like, you know, if they were going to go that route, you know, let him, you know, wear his all black stuff, like whenever, like, you know, the Frank Miller one where he had like the black, you know, bandana and the fist tape and the black clothing and shit. Like, you know, make him like that if you're going to go that route. But, you know, I like that they also just kind of let him be like the costume superhero of the group. Because I mean, you know, there's so many like ways, like, because Luke Cage just mostly wore like a fucking shirt and jeans. It was just Luke Cage in street clothes regardless. Danny Rand could wear his, you know, mask and his, you know, fucking pants or whatever. Cool, whatever. But, you know, I think they were trying to ground it a little more. They're like, oh, this is 2017, 2018, whatever. Like, our heroes are street level. They're just going to fucking do what they do. But Charlie Cox, Daredevil, is like, to me, was always the exception, because he's like like Marvel's Batman in a way, and I'll always say that shit.
I would also say that to a degree, Tony Stark is as well. You know,
Oh, definitely.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Can anyone give me a review of the Watchmen series quickly?
I I only watched the
Yes,
first
yes,
episode,
I
so I
can.
can't. I love the movie though, so
I can yeah, I can give you a little bit without spoiling too much. So the Watchmen series actually does not continue the movie. It actually continues the graphic novel, which I really enjoyed because as much as I love the film, I love the graphic novel like so much, and there was a lot of Easter eggs in there. Like I don't know if you've seen the movie, but where they replaced it in the movie, instead of having like the squid be like what was the invasion that brought all the countries together, it was a giant explosion and killing all these people and all this other shit, like a war based whatever. But they go with the squid in the Watchmen, but it's based on a new set of people. Like it deals with a lot of racial tension with like police officers and people of color and things like that, and it's set in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's very good. It's a limited series now because they said they weren't going to do anymore. But when Dan, I think his name was Lindoff or whatever the showrunner was, he did a great job. They do have tie-ins, but
race riots having occurred there. They chose
right.
I just because I'm a fan of the graphic novels, and I thought the movie just fucking shit the bed. Honestly, I thought it was terrible. How dare you do that to a post-punk writer, very much, and like against a Thatcher Reagan-esque 80s back set of where Moore writes from. So I think that's interesting. That sounds to me like the show captures more of the spirit of what the story was supposed to impart. So,
but at the same time,
does.
Alan Moore hates both the series and the movie. He's flat out
Alan
Moore hates everything that gets fucking. He does. I was gonna say the same thing, Jess. Alan Moore hates every goddamn adaptation of his. Like you could literally film page for page, shot for shot, the way they did with Sin City, which I really liked, and he would still fucking hate it.
Neil Gaiman are in the same fucking boat. They're gonna hate everything. They're in that post-punk writer hate Margaret Thatcher in a world that doesn't really exist anymore. That's in fact gotten uglier. But if you talk to those two guys, they're still going to be in that exact same time period. So, of course, they're going to hate everything that's an action of their. That's also their nature.
Right. Well, here's another thing that would hook you on the series, Jess. I'm sorry, CJ. Here's another thing that'll hook you on there. They do, again, without getting into too many spoilers, they do kind of dig into the history of the Minutemen a little bit in the series, which I thought was fucking amazing. And the way they went about doing it and the way they tied it in with the main story. Because you're getting all these new characters, like the police officers worship Rorschach basically for the wrong goddamn reasons. And they're wearing the masks. And in fact, people that are, their mandate. You remember how they banned superheroes? They actually did what the comedian said they were going to fucking do and start mandating and government issuing these people have to wear their masks and it can only be operated through the government and shit. It's really fucking wild. Definitely check it out.
And I'm like, well, why is Rorschach seem to be in this? Okay, that makes totally way more sense. I'm gonna check it out then. And also, just while I've got everybody, somebody told me to watch the first two seasons of Legion and less so the third, but definitely the first two were decent. I
haven't watched
I didn't
so I can't
watch
into it.
Watch what?
Legion. The first definitely do.
Legion.
Okay.
By the way, it seems like, especially, everybody, of course, I want everyone to listen all the time, but for Richie and Jess, if you have not heard it yet, Rico and I did an episode on graphic novel movies, including The Watchmen. We covered Sin City, The Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Constantine, and LXG, all in the same episode. So it's called Graphically Novel. If you want to go check that out in our library, it's back there. I would definitely go check that out.
Controversial.
Sure.
I didn't hate Constantine, and I really wanted to fucking hate.
Neither did we.
I was ready to hate it, but I didn't hate it.
It was the only issue I have with Constantine, and it's only in hindsight, right? So I liked it watching it. I do still like the film. and I thought Keanu did a fine job. I got zero problem with Keanu's job. But having now seen Matt Ryan play him, he's just so good that I don't want to see another one with Keanu. And they're talking about doing a sequel with him. And like, no, if you're going to do another Constantine movie, you have to get fucking Matt Ryan to play. But the same way, and Rico and I've had this argument, and it's not even an argument because we agree, but we make this argument against the world, like out to the world, that if you're going to cast any of these DC characters right now, you better goddamn pull from the Arrowverse, because Grant Gustin is the best Flash to ever be on camera, period. You know,
I'll tell you the scene where he.
Sorry. I'm just because I'm the judge.
Oh no, you're
good.
Motherfucker
in the world.
No.
I don't want these things because I've read them and I love them and I don't want them ruined for me. It took me a long time. Let's just even draw off The Witcher we talked about. Like, it took me a long time to watch those things. So is the Arrowverse like?
Yes.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
If I had 4 thumbs, Jess, they'd all be up. That's how good it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, dude. And like, there's and
my toes are up too.
Yeah.
Same thing though, Jess. Here's the thing. Flash jumps off from episode 1, but the Arrowverse, with Arrow specifically, which is the one that kicked off the entire series, the entire universe, that one and Supergirl need a couple of episodes. You got to give them a couple episodes. But
I'm probably not watch Supergirl, but I would watch Flash. I'm not gonna lie.
Supergirl is really good. It's actually better than you would think. It is really good. It's just like some of these other shows we talked about, where it took a couple episodes for it to get rolling. But one,
the only thing about that makes me think I'm not gonna love it is the costuming looks to me. So I was kind of.
It looks what?
It looks cheap.
No. It's not cheap. When she goes through 3 costumes over the course of the series. Now they're doing one more season. It ends at the end of the season, and it starts as a tribute to the original costume from the original comic books, and then it kind of morphs into its own thing. So you need to give it an opportunity. Flash the same way. Flash has been through 4 or 5 suits at this point, I think. You know,
one new suit for every season.
Basically, thank you, Todd. I didn't. Yeah. So, and Arrow.
All the shows, actually. All the shows, their costumes change with every new season.
Okay, right.
Including the Arrow.
I think Supergirl kept the same one for 2 seasons straight. Todd, don't quote me on that, but I think it for like 2 seasons it kept the same suit.
Well, that's because they moved. Okay, hold on. Supergirl started on.
Look at it, and I think Smallville, and I fucking hated Smallville.
No. It's not Smallville.
It's better. Yeah. It's better than Smallville.
It's not. And the other thing that
anything's better than Smallville.
What's that?
I said anything's better than Smallville. I'm sorry, I did not like it.
Amen.
I fucking could not get into it at all.
This year I went back and rewatched Smallville because I started listening to Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, and I like his podcast enough that, you know what, I'll give it another shot. And I rewatched it. If you can kind of not like, you know, fall into it looks like a stupid fucking teenage show, that's what it looked like initially for me. I didn't want to watch the show back then because it was like, okay, this is Dawson's Creek with Clark Kent. I'm not interested.
So, because we're getting down to 10 minutes, and I'm not rushing anyone away yet, but I want to ask a question, especially for Todd and Richie, to help Jess out, because I've never watched Smallville. So, and Jess, I'm doing my best not to ruin anything for you too, so bear with me here. But
no, I watched it. I thought it was
no, I'm getting to my point. It has nothing to do with. It's fine that you watched it too. My point is that, and Todd, I know you have some strong feelings on this way, and I'm pretty sure they're positive, but they do every season for the last 3 seasons, they did like an all-show crossover where all the shows come together. And on this, it plays really well. But on this last one, No, they're the best. In my opinion, Jess, they're the best episodes of the last 3 seasons are all the crossovers.
Yeah.
They're that good. But when
Yes.
they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths for this last one, they do no, they do, yeah. They step into the Smallville world briefly. But not
It was good.
but wait, Jess, like when I say briefly, it's like 15 minutes and that's it. Of like
If that, it's like 10 minutes or 5.
yeah, it's not long of a 6-hour long story. So like it's yeah. Because right now on this last crossover, you had Arrow, you had Flash, you had Supergirl, you had the Legends of Tomorrow, you had Black Lightning, and you had Batwoman. All these shows came together, and the story arced over all those shows. Everything except Black Lightning. Black Lightning actually didn't do an episode. The character showed up in the crossover, but there wasn't an episode. But of the other 5 shows, you had to watch all 5 shows to get the whole fucking story arc, and it was killer.
Yeah. Yeah, and then especially when you get I don't know if this is too much of a spoiler, so I won't say which one, but when Superman showed up, and we know which Superman I'm talking about, I flipped the fuck out because I was like, holy shit. I was one of the few people that actually liked him as Superman. I didn't think that particular movie was great, but I thought
we'll
he
talk
was
about that
pretty
off air,
goddamn
but
good
I
Clark
agree
Kent
with
and
you
Superman.
1,000%. Yes. You were going to say something.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yes.
it off air. I want to know more. Don't spoil it on air, but I want you to spoil it off.
Fair enough. Todd, you were going to say something.
Got you.
Well, I was just gonna say that the crossovers have definitely been like the highlight of every show because they. I remember what I was gonna say. There was a bit of the Infinite Earth storyline on Black Lightning. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't heavy in the Black Lightning series, but they had to explain him disappearing into a multiverse or whatever.
You're right about that, Todd. I didn't watch the show, but I know that. But my point was that like the rest of the story, like the script for Infinite Earths takes place on the other 5 shows. You're right. They had to explain his disappearance, but like the point is if you miss the Arrow episode or the Flash episode, you're going to be a little lost. But if you miss the Black Lightning, you're not missing anything. That was my only point, really. So
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the legends aren't even in the crossover for that one, which I found really interesting. No, Legends of Tomorrow is not on that one. They weren't in that one or the one previous, and it's because they make jokes about it on Legends. Because at one point Barry Allen calls the Atom.
We missed a crossover.
Yeah,
Man,
they make that, and then the second year they're like, oh God, is it crossover time again? Like they make that joke or something. But yeah, the other shows. I mean, I like Legends too, Jess. You might not like Legends. I think you would find that to be a little campy personally, but it doesn't tie into the crossovers. So if you omit that show, you're not missing really anything.
they
My problem is like the era of comic books I enter is very much like the Alan Moore. That's when I was born. That's the shit I read. So like that's very much where I exist in a more dark. I don't go back before it because I don't think anything before it is better. Sorry, I'm controversial. Like you're not going to stop it. So where I enter in loving comic books and graphic novels is very much the period in which Alan Moore was writing because that's when I was a child. So to me, that's where all of that shit comes in. So the campier it is, the more out I tend to be, if that makes sense.
And that's why I don't think you'll like Legends, but I think you'll like the rest. And you know what? Here's what I would say, Jess. I would still give Legends a chance because the first season is less. That show gets more campy as the seasons go on. The first season of Legends is pretty dark, and then it gets campier as it goes on. The other shows, for example, Arrow, the first season is super fucking dark. Now, it definitely gets lighter by the end, but it never gets campy, if that makes sense. But it does get lighter. Flash is light from the beginning and holds on the whole way through. I mean, there's moments of darkness, but it certainly isn't campy by any means. It was just, so.
Like, I'm just trying to people that are listening to, it's not that I don't love traditional narratives and that I don't love the way that things started out. That's just, I was born into the era of Alan Moore comic books, very much so. And people that, and then as I got older, it went, we get into an equally as dark period with like offshoots and not DC and not Marvel. We have What's His Nuts with who am I thinking? I don't know. I'm drunk. I can't necessarily.
You talk about like Image
and
comics and shit like
There
that.
you go.
Yeah, Image like with Spawn and
shit. So that.
Yeah, dude, like Todd McFarlane was great.
Yeah, that's the era I grew up in, and those are the comic books I know. So I do have a problem with that campier, like more wholesome America shit. I like my era.
You grew up around the gritty stuff.
I did, and
that was some of the best shit.
Until I was older, I thought that was always it. I thought it's more of that original noir feel that comic books come out of, those noir magazines, and that feel where it's that real gritty kind of
Jeff,
weird.
I'm almost at the end here, so I have to. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how I would view that to try to give you some guidance. But I'm asking you to also keep an open mind and obviously come up with your own opinion. And you're an intelligent woman. I know you'll do that. But I'm just saying, the Arrow show gives you exactly what you want in that grittiness, right? It does. Flash.
It does.
Flash is probably a mixture of the two as best as you can get. Probably leaning a little more towards the light side, but not completely. Where Supergirl is the other side of that coin, without question. But it's not, hear me out, it's not campy. But if you're talking dark versus light, then it's the other side of the coin, without question.
Yeah, and I was gonna double up on your point, CJ. Flash gives you the light stuff, so when the dark stuff does it hits even fucking harder.
But the dark's not all the time, whereas Arrow's dark almost all the time, and Supergirl, while it has its dark moments, is more light than dark. So it's just like the other way around. You know what I'm saying? And then Batwoman, and we'll get into that on another day because we're running out of time. But I've got a fundamental problem with the second season of Batwoman. I'm really got my concerns. But season 1 of Batwoman, I thought was great. I know people have mixed feelings on it, but I fucking loved it. And to your point about dark and gritty, it doesn't get much darker and grittier in that universe. So
I hear after we finish, let's hear it. I want to hear everybody. But
so
I know
if I could ask the three of you to temporarily come off camera, we can come back on after I'm done. But I want to just do my normal close down. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. I always, and I know I speak for Rico too, appreciate you guys coming out and spending this time with us and sitting here and listening to us ramble about all this shit. We have a blast, and we don't have this show without you guys, and it means the world to both of us. I know that for a fact. I want to remind you, you can catch us anywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, all that stuff. We're here every Friday from 8 to 10. We'll be back next week. Like I mentioned, we already know we're doing Mandalorian, assuming Rico's coming back, because he did say he would be. I don't know, but I haven't spoke to him specifically. And then to remind you also, my alter ego, if you will, DJ Xanthus on radioairwaves.co.uk every Tuesday from 9 to 11 and on Saturdays from 10 to midnight. And then you can also catch out my girl, DJ Celesta, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays mornings from 9 to 12 on Wednesday and Friday and 8 to 11 on Mondays. She puts together a great morning show. Grab your coffee, sit back, and listen to her music. She really does a great job with that show. I really enjoy her show. I've had a lot of fun listening over the last couple days, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next week. It's a great way to start my work week. And then you can end your work week and end your weekday with DJ Xanthus and the hard rock heavy metal shows that I have planned for you guys. So it's a great channel. Go check it out. It's www.radio-airwaves.co.uk. Go check it out. And until next week, guys, I very much appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
PodAskew.